Hey, welcome to the RIOT Podcast.
Happy Tuesday. Oh, yeah. Woo!
So, you know what I have been doing for the last day, and then I'm going to do it again today and then maybe tomorrow, but I've been getting us ready for the upcoming spring fundraiser, which if you haven't given yet, I want you to know this podcast is presented commercial-free.
By RadioU.
Everything we do is commercial-free at RadioU.
That's
because
right.
In a lot of ways, you're the commercial.
So we take the time off, which will be next week, for our RadioU fall fundraiser, our spring fundraiser. And that'll be a chance to make sure RadioU is possible. So then in turn, the RIOT can be possible. And then the RIOT podcast can be there.
So please take some time and donate. Now, the RIOT podcast will not go away for those weeks. We're going to have some throwback stuff we'll hit you up with, including one. Here's the thing I absolutely can't get over. It's more me than you, though. You'll hear it with Nikki a little bit. Some of these will be some way throwback elements.
We're going to go by years.
I was listening to RIOT year 1, year 2. Man, I'm so annoyed with myself. Listening to myself talk, I'm just I don't know why anyone ever listened to this. I can't stand the sound of my own voice.
You talk calmer now.
Well, you know what?
And the processing is different, and that is a different sound.
Well, I can remember what I did. After we had been doing the RIOT for 2 or 3 years, I just would scream. I yelled all the time, and there were 2 things that happened. I quit drinking pop on the way to the radio station and started drinking coffee, and I really intentionally stopped yelling. I was trying really hard to transition from yelling to talking.
Yeah.
Because I was losing my voice. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
I do. I would lose my voice all the time. And so I finally transitioned out to that. And you can hear, it's really funny, once you hit a certain spot,
you can tell
2 or
when
3
it started.
years, you can hear me starting to try, and then eventually I work it out.
That's because we both came from other air shifts on RadioU, and when you do air shifts,
It's different.
You can talk for shorter amounts of time, and it's like a burst of energy, and that's kind of the style you're supposed to do. But with morning shows, we talk for a longer amount of time, and it's less about the DJ impact sort of sound compared to we're just talking to you guys.
Oh, dude, I'll just tell you,
Look forward to it.
You'll see, you'll definitely see, especially there's a special one coming with Kids in the Way that when you hear it, you'll be like, oh, gosh.
You seem so revved up.
And even then, that's a step back from where I was. I listened to our first couple of interviews, and I was just man, if I was that band, I would have just run out of the studio.
Well, if you have been a podcast listener for a while, why don't you send us to DJ or send it to riot@radiou.com if there's any clips or any years that you would like to hear something featured. But that will start on Monday since we're going to be kicking off our RadioU Spring Fundraiser.
All right. So what's in today's podcast? We talk about watching YouTube and driving. Your millennials are getting cheated more than their grandparents again. I do have a little rant in here that might be a little yelly. We talk about Far Cry 5.
Not like RIOT first year yelly,
not
but
first year yelly.
Different.
I'm just getting more and more frustrated with articles that are really thinly disguised advertising. I'm getting so tired. And articles that are, no, I'm not.
Is it going to rile you up?
I just want to say articles that are thinly veiled advertising in the form of activism.
Sure.
Hey, you know what? You're an activist. This is an activist. Here is this hugely violent, anti-violent message. Wait, what?
Doesn't make sense.
It's there. You'll see. And if it offends you, I'm sorry if you write those articles online. We talk more also MoviePass, the pizza picture that I love so much.
That is available to also check out at RadioU RIOT on Facebook. So make sure you join us there.
Well, you guys enjoy the podcast and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Recycling paper is like planting a tree. Recycling the RIOT is like burning down the rainforest.
We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
It's the worst of the RIOT on RadioU.
Look, I want us to all come to an agreement on something. And I know it's nearly impossible to get people to agree on anything, especially...
Unless it's agreeing on that.
Can we all agree to disagree? Well, this isn't agreeing to disagree. This is you disagreeing with me.
We're still agreeing.
I thought we were... If you agree to disagree with me, then you agree with me. Well, let me slow down and explain it to you in internet condescension tone, so that way you'll... Whatever. No, here's what I think we should do. I think we should... as a group, decide that we shouldn't watch YouTube while we drive.
I didn't think we had a plan to do that anyways.
Well, I saw it again. I saw it again today. Somebody just watching. I mean, I guess I'm running off the assumption that it was YouTube because as they were driving past me, I could see them selecting a video, and I was like, "That looks like YouTube to me."
Now, do you think they were just listening to something?
It was
even though the act of selecting is still distracted driving.
It was up on their dashboard thing, and then I could just see the video playing. I mean, they didn't turn the screen off. Now, I will do that. Like sometimes there are stuff on YouTube that I'll watch that is basically a podcast, but they don't podcast it. They just put it on YouTube. And so I'll just turn my screen off. But I like to get that set before I get started.
That's a good point. And we've seen people like full on watching a movie while they're driving with, their phone in the middle of the wheel.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that I was watching that this morning. I was like, that's great. That's perfect. I mean, I understand it. I'd rather be watching a movie than driving right now.
But you cannot combine like, I'll get this done. I'll get this watched and I'm driving. I'm multitasking.
It's
not supposed to be.
Not a great idea.
Aww.
But that's where I'm coming from. I'm just like, hey, maybe we should not do that. And I'm bringing it up because people are still doing it. And I thought I'd just throw out there that, hey.
People are doing that, shaving, makeup, all at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not just, like, maybe because it's darker out when we get into work, it's keeping people to just movies or YouTube.
Well, I can't see people shaving, but I can definitely see you watching a movie on your way in. I wish we wouldn't do that. So, I know, huge stick in the mud. Boy, what's next? I don't know. I just feel like maybe we should. Our phones are awesome and our cars are awesome, but let's not do that.
Especially if you're the driver. If you're the driver, you don't get to.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the back seat, knock yourself out. If you're in the front seat, you shouldn't keep it in a place where they can watch you. Still.
We thought about selling the worst of the riot, but let's be honest, no one is buying this stuff. Get it for free on the RadioU app.
If Nikki and I didn't work on the riot, I feel like, if the goat farm didn't pan out, which I...
There's still a possibility for that. You never know.
I don't want to set it down, but I feel like Nikki and I
retire at the farm.
We could do well in the food prep industry because, you're just around food. You can eat food. I like the idea. What do you guys think about this phrase, continuous graze?
They say that can be healthy for you.
Right.
Depending on what you're continuously grazing on. But
you just, it's there, you're eating it.
If we're food prepping desserts, that might not be the best thing. But if it was a healthier...
Well, you know what my thought is? What if, you and I run a donut shop, all right?
That's where I worry.
I know. Well, but what if we became hugely desensitized to the donuts? We would just be like, you know what? Just forget
maybe you get so sick about it, which I think happens if you work in a restaurant or a field for so long, and you just can't stand your own products.
Well, there you go. Like, I hate the riot, so I eventually would come to hate donuts.
That works.
Well, isn't that what you just said?
No, this is not the same. And I don't know how we could ever hate donuts, but I bet it's possible.
I suppose it is, though. You're right. I can't even fathom a time when I would be this
not a nice
awful donut. I just can't stand donuts.
But that's why I would worry if we had the RIOT donut shop.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading here about Margaret Peoples. She was a food prep worker. She worked for Ross Market. Which Ross is...
Is that Kroger's as well?
I think so.
Yeah, they're all owned by...
They all own the same, whatever. Hey, I'm going to a small independent. No, they're
you're not.
Too.
It's owned by something.
Somebody bought them, that whatever. Sorry. I mean, if you want to keep living in that world, it's fine. But she worked for Ross. And
That's the world where Aldi owns Trader Joe's.
Is it the other way around?
That's the way I believe it works that way.
Hey, just as a side note, Aldi has great meat, cheese, and produce. They do. I feel like I get the best bananas there. You guys might not know this, but I love bananas. I eat them like crazy.
Well, we've learned something new today, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh, where were we? Yes, back here to Margaret Peoples. She worked for Ross. She worked back in their deli and food prep place, so making food all the time. And she's just eating all the time.
Are you allowed to?
Well, that depends on who you ask. She's like, how can I serve this food if I haven't tasted it?
That is a point.
So they caught her on camera. She had made a whole bunch of French fries, and she had a couple French fries. And she's like, what? I'm just making sure that they're okay. And they're like, I don't think so. You're fired! Because she's stealing from the company. She stole those French fries. They say they have a standing policy that you're not allowed to eat the food unless you pay for it. So, she's like, well, that's fine. I'll get my unemployment. So she's been in court for like a year or some ridiculous amount of time.
Still getting paid?
I don't think she has been. She's been, to me, this just seems like she's ready to like, she's just like fighting to fight.
Yeah.
She was fired in December of 16, and she's just now getting to the point where the state's like, no, you can't have unemployment.
I guess it just kind of depends. Obviously, they would have set that up ahead of time to where she would have known as an employee.
Yeah.
And then is she actually making it, or is it made off site like the fries?
No, she's making them.
She's cutting them up and everything?
No, I think she's putting a bag in a deep fryer.
That's the difference. So, like, she's not actually preparing. She's just warming it up.
Well, Nikki, under that argument, most of the restaurants we visit
don't act. Yeah, we know that. That's true.
I can think of several, like, right off the top of my head, restaurants that I've seen them just taking food out of bags and microwaving it. And then they're like, that'll be a $15 premium for the use of our, restaurant microwave.
Sure. But, I mean, if she's not, like, the actual person, like,
sure,
from step A to all the way to Z.
For me, the moral of this story is if you're telling me I'm working food prep and I can't eat it, I'm out.
He's not there.
I mean, like, if I'm going to make a bunch of fries, I'm going to have a couple of fries. That's the way it's going to have to be.
They don't want you then.
Can't you hear? I just see me in that interview, and they're like, well, whatever. Like, okay, now here's the one thing that I've just got to be sure about up front if you want me to run the fryer. Okay. From time to time, I'm going to find a need to dip into the fried items.
Just to check.
I want to make sure that we know up front that that's the way it's going to happen. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to help you reach your fry goals.
I also want to know, too, for the article, we probably can't tell until we saw the footage, but how much was she actually taking? I feel like maybe she's not thinking it's as much as she actually was.
Yeah.
And we all understand that.
Oh, sure.
Before you know it, the bag's gone.
Who hasn't, picked up lunch for your roommates only to realize that you ate all the French fries before
on the
you
way
got home?
back? So we can understand it, but we can also understand why the grocery store might be a bit mad.
I get it.
Sure, the Riot could start eating healthy, or they could continue living happy, enjoyable lives. The Riot on Radio U.
So the big news in the U.S. for the last day or two has been the nor'easter that's been hitting the northeastern part of the United States.
That's where that comes in.
And, man, it is just been
Did you see some of the
crazy.
Pictures of it?
It's crazy,
yeah.
Right? Well, that's one place where they're getting some pretty intense weather. But something I have heard basically nothing about is in the UK. They've also been getting hit with, I guess, some kind of a snowstorm or something like that. So I was looking at, let me make sure I've got this location right. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's more in the north part of the UK. But, of course, what happens when there's any kind of snowstorm or something that comes through? People go in and raid grocery stores. Got to get the milk and bread, whatever. Well, dude, I love this so much because the Mirror, which is, they're a newspaper in the UK.
It's not the most, is it a trusted news source? I don't know about that.
I feel like we can trust them on this one, though. They were showing that people were tweeting pictures of the fact that if you go to buy frozen pizzas from a couple of different stores, the only pizzas that were left were the ham and pineapple pizzas.
No one likes the Hawaiian pizza?
Nobody wants this. Just take it. Just take it.
I would expect it to be not the first to go, but I wouldn't think it would be the last.
Well, apparently it was. I can attest to the fact that when you are getting ready for a big storm, there are food items that get left over. I went to Walmart before Hurricane something hit Florida, and it was more than likely that I was going to be flying out on the Saturday, which I ended up doing, but I was faced with the fact that maybe
you'd get canceled.
Just maybe my flight would be canceled and I would be stuck there. And it was like, well, I'm going to have to eat then. So what am I going to eat? So I went to Walmart.
Several days before Saturday.
That would have been on a Wednesday?
I think so.
Maybe a Thursday.
My favorite is what bread was left?
Only one kind of bread left. Onion bread.
Now, Obi hates onions. It was an evil bread.
But it was hilarious to me, the fact that like the entire bread aisle, just like this, empty, onion bread. So
the onion bread to bread is the Hawaiian pizza to pizza in the UK.
That's exactly right, Nikki. Nobody wants the stupid Hawaiian pizza. And I love it. It's like people are walking past it. No.
You're like, things aren't that bad to have to take it.
I'm sure we can eat one of the dogs.
Who was the person who did that? Hawaiian pizza is not really pizza. That was something last year, wasn't it? That was a big discussion. People didn't think it really counted as pizza.
I think it's still pizza.
It's not bad. I think it tastes good.
I don't like pineapple in general. I'm told that, fresh pineapple is wonderful, but like that pineapple from McCann crap that they're dumping on a Hawaiian pizza.
That's not even from McCann.
Yeah.
You don't even know where that's coming from.
Oh, Derek says Hawaiian pizza is the best.
I think it's good. It's not an all the time, and I feel like I can't eat as much of the Hawaiian pizza. It's more sweet, but it's good.
You can just keep it. I don't want it.
If you had a good one.
If I was in the UK and this is not this frozen Hawaiian pizza.
You'd walk right past it?
No.
Now, okay, here's the most important thing. Big storm's coming. Big storm.
Storm of the century.
Storm of the century. And you're down to the last items, and this is what you can survive on. Is it onion bread or Hawaiian pizza?
Well, it's Hawaiian pizza.
Okay, you're going with that. Still not as bad.
Don't underestimate my hatred for onions, Nikki. It's real. It is real.
I know it is.
I'd have to be 3 days starving in the desert, and then they're like, you can starve or have an onion. You'd be like, whatever.
I think I can go one more day.
Derek's still out of pineapple ham barbecue.
Ooh, now that sounds good.
That you might, maybe.
You love barbecue chicken.
I do. And the pineapple with the barbecue is something that, but
as
even
long
that,
as there was no onions, he'd be great.
Yeah, and that's something they're like, barbecue pizza, put an onion on there. And I'm like, how about put this on your face?
He's just so great with it.
I don't like it.
Let's talk about pizza some more.
It's just I got a few things in life that are non-negotiable, and the onion is a non-negotiable thing. It just is.
Send your complaints regarding that worst of the riot moment to Fire Obadiah at RadioU.com.
Hey, so last year we talked about the fact that your grandparents are more savvy than you are. Well, guess what? For the second year in a row, your grandparents are more savvy than you are.
Savvy at what?
Savvy at not getting scammed on the internet.
Oh, nice. Are older people finally learning to not fall for internet scams?
Well, apparently, but that's not translating to the millennial part of the audience. Look at this. 2017, it is now official that 40% of Americans in their 20s reported fraud in 2017.
Well, that's not necessarily the person's fault.
Yeah, it is.
They just had fraud.
It's not.
No.
Nikki, you're getting cheated.
No, there wasn't anything I did. It's because all of our stuff is online, and then companies have security problems, and then our data gets sent out, and then before you know it, you've got a fraud charge.
Well, I'll tell you that millennials are getting scammed more than the adults are. But here's the other thing I found is that if you're older than 70, less of you are getting scammed, but they almost always end up getting scammed for more money.
Oh,
so
sure.
If you're over 70, the average scam is about $1,000. But if you are what is the 18 to 35 or whatever, it's usually about $600.
A smaller amount of money.
Okay, so they're saying, and then if you're 20 to 29, yeah, it's about $600.
I've never been scammed for money, though, to where you owe the IRS money. Send me $200 in Amazon Apple gift cards.
See, I think that's what these people are talking about. Yeah, I don't think they're talking about what happened to you, but go ahead, Nikki, tell them.
I have identity theft where someone was delinquent on a payment and it went to collections, and it's not me. But with the collections agency, I had to go fill out an identity theft fraud report with the police.
Nice.
So then that way, the collection agency stops calling and believes me. So then they turn that off.
So what do you do now that you've done your police report?
I wait for it to become public. I get the report and then I send it to them, and then that's it.
Okay.
I'm so mad someone can do that. It's so annoying.
It really is amazing.
They have my social security number, but they didn't use my payments for anything. So at least that's one thing. But I have all this person's information and where they were living at. So go get them, police. Go get them.
I had somebody, this has been a couple of years ago, but I had somebody that some company that did a draw on my bank account where they managed to take out, was like $1,500.
Yeah.
But they never. So I called the bank. I'm like,
What's this?
Hey guys, guess who hasn't bought anything from whatever the heck this is? And they were like, well, you have to wait until it posts. So it was one of those things where, like, I had to wait until they had actually finished stealing the money before I could do anything about it.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
And then you could figure it out afterwards.
It's bizarre. Then they gave me
it's wonderful.
provisional credit and then blah, blah, like all this kind of stuff.
It's really a mess. Whether you get scammed or someone steals your identity, it's a mess and it's not fair.
It must be working, though, because people are still doing it. And, you know, I see a lot of people around me buying really nice things. I assume they're just stealing that money.
It might be on you or me because they're not actually buying it.
The people that steal from Nikki like to go to Kohl's.
No, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, someone opened up a card and they opened up some other like warehouse place. And I remember I called them to tell them and they're like, are you sure? Like they weren't really believing me. And I was like, do you know I've never heard of your company before? They're like, you haven't? Like you're not even in my city.
We're one of the best warehouse companies.
The guy was like genuinely offended. I've never heard of him before. Well, no, that's not what that does.
You're not world famous. You know that, right?
You're not here, but, you know, just bear through it if you're going through it.
You can make it.
You can totally clean up everything.
Be careful out there.
Someone else's mess.
Talk to your grandparents about how not to get scammed.
Now, those I still feel are like, hey, this prince needs just $2,000 to send you a barrel of oil and a gold bar.
Well, who was the guy that we saw last week? He was trying to buy a monkey online. That sounds like somebody in their mid-20s.
I think he spent like $6,000 and he never got the monkey.
Never got a monkey.
You remember that time you started your morning with a gas station breakfast sandwich and immediately regretted it? Yeah, it's like that. The Riot. RadioU.
I believe at last check-in, it's something like $110 now to get into Disney World. Is that right? Depending
I think it's
is it like peak day and non-peak day.
I think it's actually
middle peak.
Tiny bit more than that. Oh. Because remember, they either raise their prices or they're about ready to.
Yeah. I think that statement is true all the time. They just raise their prices and they're about
I want to say,
to.
I don't know why I'm thinking 119, but that might be wrong.
Yeah. Disney has come to the point where they're publicly admitting they keep raising the price to keep people out.
Is that weird?
That's the reverse sell of Disney World.
But people
we
still
have to
come.
make it harder for you to get in because that's how many people are coming here right now.
So value tickets and regular tickets, $97 and $117 compared to $97 and $110 last year.
Well, here's the great news. You don't even need to go to Disney anymore.
You don't need to?
Nope, you don't need to. No point. Because Google has just added Street View to all the Disney parks.
Oh, you can just feel like you're virtually walking through it?
So you could do a virtual walkthrough of the Disney parks on Street View, and there, you're done. You did it.
Ticket prices were worse. Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World in Orlando, tickets there now, they say $109 to $129. So when it's that much money, why don't you just go online?
What a savings.
Yeah, you could just virtually go through. Can you still use your virtual reality goggles with stuff like that?
That's actually what I was thinking is I haven't used Google Earth in quite a while, but in VR, you can use Google Earth, and they do Street View in VR. So I could potentially take a virtual walk around Disney World, and but then...
Gather your friends.
I'd have to
It's vacation
do that.
time. Well, I mean, if someone cared, if someone liked it that much.
I will say this, even if you care absolutely nothing whatsoever for virtual reality, experiencing Google Earth in VR that is worth checking out.
Well, that's because you can fly over cities like Superman and you know, like we took some time and looked around Tokyo. Always wanted to go there. That's not in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
But it was neat to be able to see it.
Like I stood on top of Tokyo Tower and looked down on the city like a giant monster that I could be. I pretended to walk around and smash things, right?
Yeah.
No, but I'm
healthy dose of imagination.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff in there, and it's very cool. And so the idea of them adding Street View to Google Earth, that's cool that you can walk around Disney if you wanted.
If Disney wasn't so big, imagine if that was a glimpse into the future. It wasn't Disney parks, it was Google parks.
I'm okay with this. And I will tell you that Google could buy Disney. They've got money for that.
True.
One of the first places I went when I started playing around with VR was Disney World.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where they had like some 3D stuff that you could look around in, but this looks to be much more detailed. And it's not just Magic Kingdom, it's all of the other places in Disney World.
Oh, now you can take a trip virtually through that.
I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to because, I do things like that.
You should. I was thinking today, before the fundraiser starts on Monday, you should really try to get to a Obadiah Place. It's been a while.
Right. Now there's all this pressure.
Why not just play a video game? It's not pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, Nikki.
It's not even a virtual reality game, just a normal game.
It's a lot of pressure.
Okay, well, I was thinking about that on the way in. I was like, you should do a game.
Yeah. Let me dream up some stuff for you that you could do in the afternoon. So, Nikki, you know what you should do this afternoon?
You like playing video games.
Okay. All right.
It's not like I'm adding work.
The Riot.
They hate me. They hate you. They hate us.
Why else would they make us listen to the worst of the Riot? Radio U.
I don't even know that my ideas on this are fully formed, so forgive me if I wander a bit or whatever, but this is something that I've been thinking about. More and more, I keep seeing and I keep feeling like there are these news stories, and keep in mind, they're not news like CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS. These are, enthusiast press, enthusiast news. I talked a couple weeks ago. I kept seeing news stories about a movie coming out that was important. This movie's important. It's important. And no, I'm not talking about Black Panther because that's what everybody thought I was talking about. I'm not.
Really, it's just the news sources are all taking from the same...
It's the same press release.
The same press release, and so it's coming out and being sent to you that way.
And it gives them an opportunity. They write about how important it is, and they feel like they're contributing to this important thing that's happening, et cetera, et cetera. So now, here's the new thing that I keep seeing things about. Game coming out at the end of March called Far Cry 5. I'm interested in it. It's about a... sort of a conservative, at least this is the way they're selling it, like conservative religious nut that like has this weird cult, and they have like a compound somewhere out in Montana, et cetera, et cetera. So I keep seeing these articles. They're like, well, at this time in America, it's an important topic to be addressing with guns and conservatism, blah, blah, blah. And I keep seeing these articles about how it's really addressing an important thing in our culture. Okay. All right. Fine. But no one's talking about the fact that whatever this thing is it's addressing, that the answer in the game is to continually get better and better guns, and over the course of the game probably kill at least 1,000 people, because that's the way these games work. Like, you just go into one area and shoot like 20 or 30 guys. So kind of
contradictory to the marketing that they're sending out.
It's absurd. Like, I'm supposed to look at it like, well, you know what? I really appreciate Ubisoft is really taking the initiative, and they're really addressing the issues, and they're really taking it seriously. And in the meantime, it's a game about wholesale slaughter. Hello? Like, is anybody thinking this through?
Saying that?
Like, come on. You can't have it both ways.
Maybe they don't want you to notice that. Like, they're supposed to be marketing, and they're expecting you just to not, combine the two.
It just drives me nuts. I feel like if all of us, just as individuals, if we would turn on 5% of our brain, I think we spend most of the time with it completely shut off, and me too. But again, if you just look at this, but we just buy into what the internet tells us, like, yeah, this is important. It's really great to see video games addressing issues. Are you freaking kidding me?
The person maybe never played it. All other four of them.
Like, oh, yeah, it's really addressing issues. Like, yeah, you're right, man. And you know what the answer is? Like, people are like, we need to ban the AR-15. You should see the guns you'll get in Far Cry. Like, they're crazy. Like, you'll be blowing stuff up, rocket launchers, grenade launchers. Get yourself a helicopter, crash it into the building, watch it burn, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you're right. We're really addressing important issues. This game's important. It's important.
He put his fingers up for air quotes.
Air quotes. Important. It's important. I'm really tired of this bizarre, like, pseudo-journalistic stuff that the internet throws at us constantly. And you're like, well, Obadiah, don't take it seriously. I wouldn't, except it really works. It really informs people's opinion. You read headlines. You don't think you do, but I promise you do. You read a headline, you tuck it away somewhere, it informs your opinion. So rather than taking a minute and taking a look at this thing that they tell you is important, you'd walk away just like, You want me to read? This is ridiculous. This is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm done. I'll just stop there. But like I just feel like I'm going to yank my hair out when I read this stuff.
Stop reading and stop looking at it. If you have something coming up, just don't even look at any of the information around it.
Well, but Nikki, it's important.
It's not important.
Air quotes, it's important.
I know, he still has the air quotes up.
It's so important. Like,
just stop.
I got a couple upcoming movies that are important.
Just stop reading
I need to give my money towards them.
You don't need,
those movies are what's changed in the world. And like Far Cry 5, Nikki, it's addressing a lot of important issues.
If you want to see
it's got something to add to the gun debate.
Just see it or play it. Don't look at people's talk about it.
Oh, I can't escape it. People are retweeting it on Twitter.
He's just so mad about it.
Oh my gosh. What? Like, it's a gun debate. Hand me that gun. I've got to play this very violent thing. What?
Worst of the riot, not enough? Not enough? Check the blog and all things Riot at riot.radiou.com.
Nikki and I were talking earlier about the idea of us maybe getting a job in the food service industry. Looks like our job's taken already.
What is it?
Flippy the robot started yesterday at Caliburger in Pasadena.
Yeah.
They say that Flippy is probably going to be installed. They're saying about 50 more locations, though they don't say like when that's going to happen.
And I'm sorry, what restaurant is it?
Caliburger?
Caliburger, okay.
Or it'd be Cali Burger. I'm not sure exactly how you would say it, as I have never eaten at one.
It'd be Caliburger.
So it's a robot with a 6-axis arm equipped with a spatula to flip burgers.
So basically, the robot has replaced a person who used to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But they figure since they're trying to make it cute, then it's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. So the person who would have done that, no big deal. They say that this right here, it's not our lives that are in danger from the robots. It's our livelihood that's in danger from the robots.
Because they talk about that.
Now, you thought like, oh, you always need somebody to flip the burgers. Nuh-uh. They got somebody else now.
Yeah, they talked about how, really we should be making sure that everyone has the job skills to be able to withstand if a lot of jobs are taken at a certain level by a robot doing it.
Well, they're taking the burgers. So look at that. And it uses multiple cameras to sense what's going on in the environment so it knows what to look for. And some like cheeseburger versus chicken versus the top bun or the bottom of a bun. So, man, Flippy can even get the burger in, like, the buns. It's toast in the buns.
It uses thermal imaging, 3D, and camera vision to sense when to flip and when to remove it. It knows the temperature of the patty, the size of the patty, the temperature of the grill surface, and then it can put your hamburger or your sandwich together.
Yeah, man. Do you know what that means? That means, like, right now, you got that guy in the back who hates his job, doesn't care, whatever. He doesn't have a temperature sensor. He's not paying attention to your burger. He's just doing it because he ain't got nothing else to do.
Now
I got a robot. The Terminator is back there with a temperature infrared camera. He knows exactly when to flip the burger.
Now, the restaurant is putting a better spin on it. If you're like, oh, but the person who had the flipping of the hamburger job, they're saying that it's not a fun job. No one likes to be the hamburger flipper. There's grease. It's messy. It's hot. And so it's not usually a desirable job where they have a heavy turnaround of people who quit. So instead, by having Flippy, the robotic hamburger turner, they say that will help because then the company spends less money on training new grill cooks who never end up staying. And think of it as instead of replacing a position, that position never stays filled anyways.
So it's a crap job.
Yeah,
so
that
whatever.
No one wants to wait. And so it costs them more money because they're constantly having to work in a new person. So instead, you have this do the job no one wants to stay at doing.
So Flippy's making your burger.
Basically.
I would like to try a robot burger. Just so, I know what it's like. What I'm in for right there.
Actually, Tammy has a great point. If you become a robot mechanic, then you have great job security. That's an excellent point.
She's got a great point.
Because someone has to be able to work on the robot to make sure he works.
Mm-hmm. So why don't, that means pretty soon you're going to see that degree commercial, like, become a certified robot repair mechanic. So
surprised we don't already have that now.
Heck, man, you know what? Maybe get it on the ground floor, learn all about that stuff, and you could open up your own robot repair shop. Something to think about. Like every time a Roomba breaks, who's going to be there to fix it?
Wish the worst of the riot would never end?
Everything that has a beginning has an end.
What is wrong wrong with you? Get our daily podcast through iTunes, Google Play, or the RadioU app.
Boy, not a lot of great news coming out of the MoviePass camp over the last few days.
So you've had your MoviePass before, was it early December?
Yes.
Early December.
1st of December.
Basically, it's this little card that you get, not to minimize, it's a card.
It is a little card.
It's a credit card that you get that you can then go see a movie a day for basically a subscription fee, so like $10 a month.
I'm paying $10 a month.
And you can see one a day with a couple of little qualifiers, but basically that's it.
You can't see a 3D movie. You can't see an IMAX movie.
And you can't like schedule ahead through like, a normal movie theater app.
Right. So you have to use their app to check in, and then you basically have 30 minutes to go buy your ticket. You have to be within 100 yards of the theater. So that's everything that was set up before I got started. Then I started getting messages from people. They're telling me that apparently now you can't buy a MoviePass without paying for a year in advance.
So the MoviePass is changing things?
Now, I haven't seen an official announcement, but I had someone that said that, and then I started digging around, and they're like, yeah, it's only $8 a month, but you must pay for 12 months in advance. And
so they're changing things up?
They must be. They're doing something to that effect. Then over the weekend, a lot of people got hit with the terms of service stuff. So even Hudson did. Hudson told me that he now has to take a photo of the ticket of the movie that he's going to see and send it to MoviePass.
How come?
Because basically,
are they just not believing him?
Yeah.
But then why are you not seeing the movie? Like, what's the point?
So what they're trying to do is,
that?
Well, like for some people, it would be like, hey, buy a ticket today. Don't go to the movie because I bought the ticket for tomorrow. Then buy another ticket. So you could buy tickets for friends or whatever.
Yeah.
So now every time you buy a ticket, you have to take a picture of it and send it. Now, a lot of people got hit with that over the weekend. I did not get hit with that. Hudson did. But I saw a ton of people online that are now having to do that.
Getting mad.
They also had a thing over the weekend where it wasn't everybody, but a lot of MoviePass customers were not able to see Red Sparrow, and nobody seems to really know why, but they just wouldn't allow you to purchase a ticket to Red Sparrow through their app. So
are they mad at the movie company?
Maybe.
Or not working together?
I don't really know. And then this latest bit here is that
because Red Sparrow could have used it. So, I mean, it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't what they thought.
I didn't. I have lost interest. I was interested. I have lost interest in that movie. But the MoviePass CEO for the weekend also said, yeah, we actually watch you using your phone. We track how you drive to the movies and how you drive home from the movies.
So they're selling all this data, which is why, you're getting for $10 the chance to go to a movie every day of the week if you want to for an entire month.
So, but then they kind of took that back and they're like, okay, look, we're looking at that as one of many options of ways that we can continue to
sell your stuff,
sell your data, et cetera, because that's what they do. They say that up front, like, hey, we're selling your data.
They sell how long you stay in the movie theater. They want to know, obviously, what movies are more popular with it.
Right.
Problem is, the more customers they have, a lot of times companies will start changing how they do things. And it's not always in your favor, even though they have a bigger clientele now to be able to sell. So you would think that it wouldn't turn bad for you, but it probably will.
Well, this is the reason why when I signed up, I only signed up for their monthly plan. Because when I got to go look at it, I was like, okay, I don't think this company's going to make it for very long. Like at some point.
They're going to, but someone's going to buy them. It's going to turn into something else.
Yes.
It'll go
exactly
that way. Yeah.
It will not stay what it is right now. So I didn't want to get into them and buy a year of service. I was like, I'm going to pay these guys month to month because at some point it's too good. Like the deal's too good. Like at some point this thing doesn't work out. And they'll try to make it seem like, no, it still works. It still works. No. Something in this somewhere breaks down. I don't know what, but again, I keep hearing things like I got to take a picture of the ticket now. I got this. They're tracking me on my way home.
And don't blame Ovi. Don't blame him because it's different than how he was when he set up.
I have gotten a few messages from people that are asking me questions like I'm customer service. I'm just like,
he's not that.
I don't know. Like, ask them.
It's different now, and it might not be entirely the same.
Having a bad day? Blame the riot. Everyone else does. And in fairness, it's probably their fault. Radio U.
Did you look at what I sent you last night? I didn't tweet.
The pizza one or the first one?
The pizza one.
The pizza one? I did. Even though I don't know if it's true. I think they added the tag to it, but I thought it was cute.
It might not be real, but this guy tweeted a picture of his daughter. I don't know how old she's supposed to be, but it says that she just tried pizza for the first time, and she's
arms up,
she's got her hands in the air, and she's got her eyes closed. She's obviously having a transcendental experience.
The only thing I thought is there's no food in front of her,
right?
And it looks like perhaps there's pizza around her mouth, so
like
maybe
that
was just after it. But I thought it was really cute, and that's been the big meme that's been going around for the last couple of days.
I love it so much.
I know you did. When I first saw it, I saw the article. I thought it was an onion one.
Yeah.
Because just the title of it lends itself to that, but it's adorable.
It looks a little fake. I completely agree with you. And yet at the same time, I just look at this picture and I'm just like, man,
that's what happiness is. Whatever she's happy about, that's being happy.
That's actually what I want. When I see this girl right there, I'm like, how do I get to that place?
You can't. You got to be a baby.
And I hate it here, and I never get what I want.
Not acting like a baby, but being a baby.
Like actual baby.
Actual baby. Or maybe they say...
Teacher, can a man enter his mother's womb and emerge a second time?
No. Maybe, though, they say when you get a certain age on the other end, like when you're older...
They do say that.
They say you kind of revert back, and you can do what you want, and you can act kind of more like a baby or immature. Mm-hmm. And people are like, oh, it's fine. They're older. It's no big deal.
They're old. Do what you want.
So give it, a long time until you're that age, and then you can act like a baby. Just put your arms up and just pretend.
Well, no, I feel like in order to do that, I'm going to need some pizza.
Okay, I don't have any. I have some cucumbers.
Maybe we could have some pizza.
Cucumbers.
Man, you guys can't see the look on my face right now, but it's not good. It's not like this. My arms aren't raised. I don't have that expression on my face.
Well, just trying to provide something. You can just fake it.
I don't know. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to post this on the Riot page just because I think you guys should see it. And again, it's the biggest meme going around, so make your own with it. It's so happy and so nice. It's so good, dude. It's like when you remember what really good pizza is. It's like, yes, it's really good. Oh man, it makes me want to get some pizza right now. It makes me want to show this to Chris, who's like not eating pizza now. Well, until his cheat day. When's his cheat day? I think he has like one every 6 weeks or something. Is it that long? I thought maybe once a month. Yeah, it's working for him though. He seems angrier. No, I'm just joking. So. That's how everybody acts when you can't have pizza. Yeah, like if you can't have pizza, it's not good, right? Chris, you're just fine, okay? What? Like, I wasn't saying anything bad about it. It was just, the baby and the pizza.
Ever wonder what Nikki is doing when she isn't rioting? Find her Twitter feed at riot.radiou.com. Obadiah's is there too, but... who cares what he's doing? Who loves commercials? Raise your hand. One guy. All right. Here's the thing. Radio U plays no commercials. It's why we've got a spring fundraiser coming up on Monday. You can help us stay commercial free and do what we do. RadioU.com. Just click on donate. So there's that. I was going to say, I wanted to thank Chris. He's one of our great Radio U listeners. He sent us a really cool video of like the best Japanese commercials from 2017. They were so much fun to watch. Like, we don't watch commercials, obviously, a lot. Not very often. But I was mentioning if they were more like those, I think it'd be fun to watch. Nikki, you don't watch a lot of commercials? Mm-hmm. That's like I don't watch a lot of NBC. See what they have in common? I also don't watch a lot of NBC. NBC knows. They know that. Well, they had a little better of a time because of the one show with the one, This Is Us. That one. Where the guy died from the fire from the crock pot or whatever. It wasn't from that. It was a spoiler thing. It was a slow cooker. No, it's from the smoke or something, but he had a heart attack or something after. From smoke inhalation. But, I think that helped them a lot. Well, not the Olympics, but that. Here's their answer. Yeah. Less commercials. They say that they're cutting their primetime commercial load
by 20%.
So that means the commercial. Now, you ready? That means the commercial stuff is going to be loaded into the show itself.
That's not what they say.
That's what they're going to do.
They say in any given show, the ad time will decrease by 10%.
Yeah, but I mean, the ads are going to decrease.
No. I know.
Product placement.
Let me read you what they say. You see how you interpret it. The number of ads in a commercial break will be reduced by 20%, while the amount of ad time in a given show will decrease by 10%.
Yeah.
So
means less breaks, and then the break length will be shorter as well.
Okay.
So less interruptions during a show,
right?
And the interruptions will be shorter, but that doesn't mean not stuff in the show itself.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Hey, here's a Pepsi, like that sort of thing.
Did you hear what was the soap opera one where they were talking about?
What was the movie?
Was it Doctor Strange?
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
No, it's just Doctor Strange.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. They're like, don't you think we should go see a movie this weekend?
I just can't imagine not going and seeing this movie.
Like, they'll just put it in the show.
Yeah. So, I mean, that may be the thing. Like, on This Is Us, the guy would have died from a crock-pot brand slow cooker. Sure am excited about all the wings we're going to eat watching the big game this weekend, guys.
No one wants that sort of
smoke inhalation.
No one wants any of that advertising, but
I think that's great.
You get what I mean?
Placement.
It doesn't mean we're going to get less stuff put in our face. It'll just be in a different way.
They'll find a different way to do it. Well, they say that because so many people are so used to watching things online now, their commercials are more and more annoying to people, which, dude.
That is true.
It's true. It's true. But I don't know. I don't watch anything live. You just DVR it. And then if you really need to kind of be watching it at the same time as everybody else, you DVR it. And then about 15 minutes into your show, you go ahead and start your DVR'd copy and you begin watching it. And then as it hits commercials, you just skip.
See, my hard thing is I use Sling TV, and then on their more popular shows, they don't allow you to skip during commercials.
Well, that's why the digital DVR is such a big deal. Like, with services like Sling or YouTube, they're like, hey guys, look, you don't need some clunky DVR sitting at your house, whatever. Let us give you a cloud DVR where we remain in control.
They can do that for you. Where I just turn off the volume and I'm like, la, 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 and I close my eyes.
Commercial skip has been disabled during the following presentation.
I'll disable it. Just in my own way.
You guys see, anytime somebody offers you a new advantageous service, they're really just trying to come up with a way to stay in control and force you to watch the commercials.
How does Nikki put up with Obadiah day after day? It's easy. We pay her. RadioU.
If you're going to rob a store, I feel like Family Dollar's just not the right one.
Are you thinking there's not enough? Or is it better to go smaller and just more often to steal things?
Okay, all right. You know what? That's
I'm not sure of like, if they're security-wise, if there's like, just let them run for it.
Maybe. We've got a guy who robbed a Family Dollar. Like, here's the way his big plan went. He walked in with a green sweatshirt and a green hat.
Yeah.
Then he went in the back and he stole a red sweatshirt and a red hat and put those on when he was like in the back. And then he came up front with a hatchet and he was like, I'm going to rob this place. And they're like, put your hatchet away. And he's like, no. So they called the police, and that was all. All they had to do was call the police, and then he was afraid. So he grabbed a can of Vienna sausages and a bag of jerky and ran out of the store.
Why did the clothing change, though?
Well, maybe he thought that it would confuse them when, he came in. Because, see, he had a plan, Nikki.
Yeah.
He had green on, and then, he's wearing red.
Well, I didn't know if it was like to trick the police or like security footage or something.
Well, see, I think that was his plan, but the problem was when he ran out, he just ran down the street and neglected to change out of the red sweatshirt and the red hat.
Also, you were wrong with saying he just grabbed on his way out the Vienna sausage stuff. Like he did get a new set of clothes since he did get the red clothes.
You're right. So if Family Dollar is real, then he stole $4 worth of merchandise because that was a shirt, a hat,
and the
Vienna sausages, and jerky. So
it's a meat thing.
Well, Nikki, maybe he's on.
He might be in that. That was what was in the area.
Okay, well,
when
it
you
might
leave,
be.
That was
he may have just like these
it.
are right by the door. I am not leaving here with nothing. Okay.
I feel like
I came all the way down here with this hatchet. I'm getting something.
I have a hard time with people who are stealing stuff like that or robbing when he could have put the effort in and just worked there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he
probably would have made more money.
He could have. Plus, you get a discount, and then
he could have had the same sausages, jerky, and the red outfit.
Maybe it's like family 80 cents if he gets his discount. What do you think? 20% at Family Dollar?
I'm not sure.
No, you don't think?
If you're not in the family, 10%, you're not saving
maybe?
the dollars.
Oh, he's got to get some kind of an employee discount on that, right? Like,
I don't know.
Man, when I worked at that record store, we got 20% off music, but 40% off books.
That's because no one was buying them. They just wanted anybody to take them.
I didn't care.
Well, I'm just telling you that's why that was such a good discount.
The nice thing about that store, too, is that they would mark prices way up. So after your discount, it seems reasonable.
And you're like, wait a minute. It's still more than it should be.
Yeah. So the Family Dollar. I still think if you're going to rob something, you've got to rob a bank, but you can't just rob a bank because they got like the die packs. You've got to go rob the Federal Reserve.
That's why people are doing the online identity stuff.
Wait, I've got it. There's a hurricane coming in.
No, it's not Hurricane Heist.
There's a hurricane coming in,
about that movie.
And they're evacuating. Me and a couple of guys are going down to the Federal Reserve, and while they're trying to get out, we can take the money
because
from the Federal
everybody will be so
Reserve.
busy, they won't be paying attention to the money.
Boom.
Yeah, that movie's already coming out.
Boom. Mm-hmm. We are doing that.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because RadioU exists, and RadioU only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.